I am not doing okay. I haven't been doing okay for over a week now. But when I zoom out, it feels like the past month has been really hard. Hello, it's me, Sucha here. I am coming at you from a bit of a lower week. I haven't been doing okay. I haven't been doing okay for several days now, but on and off for the past month. It's been a really challenging, when I say past month, I would say like mid-November last month to now. I mean, in many ways, October was challenging and September was challenging. Like, every month has had its own twists and turns of emotions, and I'm so here for it. During this rest season, during this in-between season, during this season of a hiatus, of not working, but I'm trying to process it here and document it, and I don't really have anything specifically planned for this video. I've had so many other videos that I've been writing down ideas of that I've been wanting to talk about, but I haven't had the creative space and presence and spaciousness, both physically and internally, to really show up and share this part of myself. But the sucky part is that when I don't share what I feel so called to share with the world and circulate my creative energy, it makes me feel down about myself. And I don't know if it's the productivity, I don't know if it's me feeling productive putting videos out there, but I just so much feel that it's like a big calling for me and I don't need anything from it. It just brings me a lot of peace, and it allows me to churn that creative energy and share the messages that are flowing through. But when I don't share, it makes me feel down. And so I've had a week of just really not circulating, essentially, my creative energy. And then on the other side, just feeling so many tears and emotions. And completely putting it out there, but not giving too much information out. Relationship brings up a lot, and it feels like my consistent teacher in life, and it's so humbling, but it's so hard sometimes. Ram Dass, who is an amazing guru, says in all the different modalities of yoga, relationship is sometimes the most difficult form of yoga, because you're sitting with all of your work and processing, but it's not just with yourself, it is with someone else who is consistently mirroring back everything to you. And keep in mind, it's both myself and my partner in a 400 square foot studio in the beautiful countryside of San Diego, which I'm so grateful for, but it's also a studio with both of us, and we're both not working right now. We both did get let go from our jobs, and we're both processing that in different ways. And now, more than 3 months in, I'm noticing the next steps of what are we gonna do next? Those waves come up again and again, and although I feel peace, I don't want to even think about doing anything until after the holidays, I still know, and I need to accept that we're gonna process and evolve in the next ways we need to, in different ways. And working for the same company, it was so challenging, but it was also, there's that comfort that we built up of working for the same company with the same mission, and we felt really good with our roles. And so there's so much uncertainty of what's next. And being 28 years old, as a woman, there's all of these question marks that come up as well. And so I'm gonna get into a lot more of this processing throughout this video, because I feel like there's so many layers that is still taking me time to realize and articulate. But I was really wanting today to be a better day, and I feel like it's already a little bit of a better day. And sometimes it's even just the basic things that sound like they're good health practices that can put a little pep in our step. And for me, even though I had tears even waking up and I stayed in bed longer, I was I need to nourish with food. So that was the first thing I did. I actually took a walk, a morning walk, which I haven't really done regularly. Usually it's later in the afternoon, but I wanted to soak up the sunshine. I wanted to just let my skin feel the sunshine. There's so many benefits, obviously, with that. I wanted to do some light movement because it is the second day of my bleed, and usually she's flowing a lot more, feeling the cramps, feeling some lower back pain, just letting myself feel tender in all of it. And I got ready. I put a little bit of makeup on, which was fun. I just let myself enjoy it. I spruced up my hair, put earrings on. I really like this outfit. This is a new top I got. And I've had these flowing pants for a while, and I actually have my period shorts underneath, which is fun. Yeah, I got ready a little bit and I made a nice cup of cacao. This has got red clover blossoms, it's got red raspberry leaf. If you know about herbs, you know those two things are really good for your menstrual cycle and supporting hormonal balance. I put some dandelion root, some turmeric, some black pepper, a little bit of cayenne pepper, some rose petals, some raw honey that I mixed in afterwards. And I'm gonna sip on this. I'm actually going to enjoy watching a few YouTube videos that I bookmarked for myself of YouTubers I love watching, and just let myself relax on this couch and then come back to you after I've processed a little bit more from today. But with just these few practices, I actually already feel a little bit better. My partner is out for the day, so there's still these next conversations that are coming up that I'm still in the thick of processing. Okay, I am back. It's been about like an hour, and I watched a video. It was a YouTuber I like. Her name's Sarah's Day, and she's documenting her postpartum. It's her third baby. I don't know, you guys. I've been watching a lot of like birth vlogs, and I think it's just a coincidence also that people around my age who I've been following, or just even friends with in my community who are documenting their lives, they are going through the just chapter of life around the start of motherhood. And I don't think that's like a pressure on me right now. Like, I am not looking to have kids right now, but it's very much been opening up just all of these feelings and emotions that used to be so distant, and I'm feeling them at a deeper level. Like, a few years ago, if I watched a birth vlog or saw a pregnancy video or just someone documenting motherhood, I would have been like, this is cool, but like not too interested, and I would have wanted to follow and like watch more girlies who didn't have kids yet, because a lot of the kid stuff seemed like boring or just uninteresting to me. And the other day, even just watching a birth vlog, and I got so emotional about it, and I was just like feeling like, oh, like, because it just feels closer for me. And that closer could even mean like 3 years or 5 years or however many years, but like, because it feels closer, you feel like, what would that be like for yourself more viscerally? But at the same time, it still brings up that feeling of timeline. It brings up like, okay, I'm 28 years old now. Personally, I feel like I would want to follow more traditional steps, getting engaged and married, and I mean, I'm surrendered to whatever the steps are before a pregnancy and motherhood happens, but I can dive into this in another video because I'm consistently processing, and I've gone back and forth with even my thoughts around marriage, but at this point in my life now, I feel like marriage really encompasses these beautiful values of commitment and togetherness. And I think that foundation is so beautiful and necessary. And I feel like because my parents got a divorce when I was so young, and because my dad wasn't always in the picture, and I saw how that affected myself and my brother, I know there's never going to be a perfect scenario to have kids born, but it's just all of these thoughts that come up in my mind now. So those are the feels, and just sitting down with Cacao. You're also hanging out with me while I'm on the second day of my bleed, and my period poops have been coming in. And if you're new to the term period poops, like, I'm just going to talk about it. So your body, I feel like, is really detoxing and like letting things out at this time, not just with blood, but also I feel like it naturally like just takes everything in your system and poops it all out. I'm not like getting into the science here, but this is like my second time pooping today, and it just was like, whoa, my body's like really letting everything come out. Also, 2 weeks ago now, right before Thanksgiving, I did my first colonic, which is like colon hydrotherapy. Think of it like an enema, which part of my treatment was a coffee enema, but basically they're plugging a tube up your asshole and they are putting water up there and they're flushing it all the way in to your intestines and then really like squeezing and releasing everything out. I'm going to drop the link of the gal that I did my treatment with. Her name's Gianna, based in San Diego. So if you're in San Diego, I highly recommend her. She made me feel so comfortable. Her energy is just like high vibing. She really educated me and made me feel so comfortable because I had heard of colon hydrotherapy or a colonic for so long, but I felt like I was finally ready because I've been going through stuff, not so much digestion, like I feel like I'm digesting and I'm not struggling with excessive bloating or anything, but my stools specifically aren't looking the way that I want to, that I feel like would be healthy. So what was crazy is what came out was a parasite, which I knew could be very possible. Like a lot of the signs I was getting, I was like, I know parasites are really common these days, like that could potentially be something. So it was really interesting. I definitely want to get another one, but really follow through a whole parasite cleanse and actually test out what it's like to take out dairy. I've gone back and forth with dairy, and I don't know if I made myself sensitive to dairy because I was plant-based for so long and I wasn't doing any dairy, or I don't know if like it's just something that's not agreeable with my system. I know a lot of the ancestral honeys out there are like raw milk or die, but for me personally, it's not working. So I just want to give you a permission slip if raw milk or dairy is not your jam, but you are still very much an advocate for ancestral living and eating animal-based, that is okay. Like literally, milk is created in mama cows for baby cows, so it's okay. I just went on a milk tangent, but the reason I bring that up is because dairy can be it could create an environment that's very mucousy, and for me, I definitely get very congested even when I have raw dairy or ultra low pasteurized high quality dairy. So creating a space where the parasites can't grow. I also, the next time I do a colonic, I want to like intentionally have really great herbs that are supposed to help like create an environment where parasites can't grow. So I share all that because I just think this whole time period is really opening up this time of like deep healing for me, and a lot of things that I kind of pushed aside while I was working all the time, so many hours, and that definitely probably created a very stressful environment. I mean, Gianna, the gal who did my colon hydrotherapy session, she was saying like above all else, because we can like go into all of the nitty gritties of our diet, blah blah blah, but like stress is honestly like the biggest thing that causes so much dis-ease in the body, and I believe that, and I think that's why like the culmination of all the emotions I've been feeling and the stress and the congestion and the underlying like sickness, I don't even feel sick, but I don't know, yeah, it's like my body is calling for deep rest. Like I can feel myself in bed for way longer, waking up in the middle of the night, again the congestion and just feeling a little bit more low energy than usual. So feeling all of that. Another thing, and this is a video that I want to revisit because I haven't been drinking coffee for like a little bit more than 2 years now. This is something I really wanted to like come back and celebrate in November because I've been 2 years coffee free, alcohol free, and like 3 years cannabis free. And I've heard of this term called intuitive sobriety, and that's what I feel like I'm most fitting in with. It's not like I sought out to take all these things out. But that being said, I've been really diving into like research and science around caffeine because I wanted to share a video that's really diving into that. And although I haven't been doing coffee, I have been really experimenting with matcha, and then I've been doing cacao for a while. Cacao has a very slight amount of caffeine, just like all chocolate, but like pure earthy cacao does, and then matcha definitely has caffeine. Some people even say it has more caffeine than coffee, and I think it really just depends on the type of matcha. But I tried matcha and I really wanted to see, like, is it giving me that anxiety and rushed feeling like coffee does? Because I just wanted to switch up the morning drinks, because even with cacao, like, too much cacao for your adrenals and all of that, like, cacao can be really amazing actually around your ovulation time and while you're menstruating, but I wanted to switch it up. I didn't want to depend on one drink, so I've been trying out matcha. But with my matcha, I really like having it with milk, and I can't get behind the non-dairy milk. I really don't want to, like, have any kind of fake milk. So I was having really high quality milk with my matcha, but ever since I've been wanting to take a pause and just really go light on any kind of dairy, I've been pausing with my matcha. And as I'm diving into the research and science around caffeine, I'm wanting to also experiment with myself, like, what does that look like to pause a little bit on caffeine? Because I've been noticing myself, like, clench my jaw, and I've been having this eye twitch, and it could just be from, like, all of the stress and all of the tears and all the crying. But I also do feel like caffeine has such a impact on your body and your rhythms. And so the research that I've been diving into was such a good reminder, because it is so easy to just get attached and make a habit of your morning drink. And that became matcha for me. I even noticed that the caffeine I was getting from the matcha put me into these different patterns, and I was craving those feel good feelings in the mornings and all the things. So anyways, I feel like I'm just noticing my body rhythms and just sitting with myself even more tenderly and gently at this time, this end of the year, December reflection, and pausing from caffeine, pausing from dairy, feeling what's going on in my body, being more tender with it. I've been feeling so cold. I mean, the temperature is actually dropping, obviously, but having grace with another change of the seasons and just a more restful season. C, D, E, F. Samanakata, samanigatento, samanakate, samanakatita, samasannakata, samanigatento, samanakate, samanakate, sannakata, samanigatento, samanakate, samanakatita, samasannakata, samanigatento, samanakate, samanakate. Sina nankarera, sina lakimane, na sina nankarera, sanyakate madondane, sannakata, sammanikatento, samanakate, samanakatita, samasannakata, sammanikatento, samanakate, samanakate. Sina nankarera, sina lakimane, na sina nankarera, sanyakate madondane. Okay, so that song was the Warrior Song by a group called Tribe of Love, and it's supposed to be a light language, which is very cool because it's essentially channeled, and the people who came up with the song just channeled the song. But this song feels so beautiful, and when you have the drums and other people like bringing in the instruments, it feels so like it gives you that warrior energy. So I'm practicing it because, and hopefully this video will be going up before this coming Sunday, which is the full moon in Gemini. It's the last full moon of the year, and I'm hosting my first ever song circle, which is part of the reason that I have had all the feels coming up for me, because I don't know why I'm feeling like, I don't know if it's self-sabotage, of course it's nervousness. It's the first time I have ever even put my voice out there. Like, this is something that I didn't even know I was being called to do. Yeah, so I don't know what it is. I don't know why there is an avoidance, because I feel like sometimes I'm finding every reason in the day why I can't just wake up and pull this out and practice. And sometimes it's because my partner's here. You know, when you're practicing something and you need to have that period of time where you suck at it and where you like try a note with your voice and then it sucks, and that feels like, you know, I should be comfortable because of my partner, but it's still so vulnerable to like play an instrument and open up your voice. So there's that part, and then there's the part of like, I need to be feeling good before I do this, but that's not the point, because the point of why I even went to these song circles and why I want to share it and why I'm like so called to opening up my voice and playing an instrument is because I feel like this is a form of devotion. It's a form of prayer. The more I'm diving into even the science of your voice and the healing modalities, like using your voice can help you regulate your nervous system. It can help you feel better. It can help you feel more at peace. And then one step further is when you're vibrating and singing along with other people, that can feel so, so good. So I have this conflict and I don't know what it is. I don't know what is the avoidance. I don't know if it's like the good things that are right there in front of you. Why can't I just come up and grasp them and receive them? And that's part of like when I avoid it too much, and when I don't just get up and like be the person that I want to be, which is like, I want to get up and pull this instrument out and just play it and open up my voice. When I don't do that enough times, it makes me feel not good about myself. And so I want to change that. I'm going to turn this red light off. So I want to change that. And even like the song circle coming up, it's brought up so many layers because, of course, it's like actually leading people in song. And so practicing the songs, feeling confident in them. I'm brand new to it. I just am playing very basic keys on there. But also, I haven't put myself out there in the event space. And I literally used to run so many events in San Diego. It's been several years, but very, like broadly speaking, 2 years of really peeling back from offering my own events. But even while I was working for the ranch, like running ranch tours for them, and I would actively market and promote and show up on Instagram and talk about it and put out marketing flyers and Instagram stuff and all of the things. So putting out a completely different event and something I'm brand new to, and then also like peeling away my identity from like marketing to a certain niche of people for events. And yeah, it just feels, it brings up all of these fears of being seen in a different way and doing something completely new. And especially when you know sometimes the people that you've worked with or done things in the past are watching, like that brings up added layers. And it's also beautiful at the same time, because this is what it's about, like being human and going through all your different layers and evolutions and being witnessed in that. But it's so scary, and it just brings up a lot. So yeah, I feel more lighthearted and funny talking about it when I say it out loud, but it hasn't been fun the past few weeks. I've been feeling actually like very down about it and scared and avoidant. So that's where I'm at. But if you are in San Diego, I am hosting my first song circle on December 15th, and it's from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And I had been waiting for like the perfect place to solidify, because originally I was thinking of hosting the song circle at a park outside, but cacao is like such a big part of it. I really wanted to make and serve cacao for everybody, and since the sun's been going down at 4:30, and because I live further away from all the places, I'd be driving like 40 to 50 minutes for wherever I'd be hosting this. It was just not optimal for cacao. So it was so perfect. I actually ended up going to an event at this beautiful woman. Her name's Melissa. She just opened up an art gallery in PB, the Pacific Beach area of San Diego. And so I'm going to be hosting it there. And it's just so beautiful to be able to host it at a essentially art gallery and art co-working space for creatives. I think it's so meant to be. It's in a very central location. So yeah, I just want to invite you, if you're in the area and want to come and join. And if you're watching this, you know all of the buildup going into this event, so thank you. But yeah, it's not even about me. It's just about opening up our voices and healing together and being in devotion and being in ceremony and enjoying cacao and being with others. So yeah, I hope you can make it. And if you're not, then thank you for following along my musical exploration journey on the YouTube. All right, I'm spending a few last minutes out here in the garden as the sun is going down. It's still early in the day. It's like not even 4 p.m. yet. It's not even 3 p.m. yet, but I'm going to be having a late lunch after this. But I wanted to sit down in a squat and just share a few other thoughts that have been coming up in my mind. A big one is that when I zoom out, because when I'm in the thick of these feelings that have been coming up and in the tears and in just the stuckness, it's really hard. It's really, really hard. And I am like, is this a waste of time? Like, why can't I just be more conscious? Why can't I be more self-aware? Why can't I utilize all the tools that I've learned for so many years better? Why am I projecting on my partner so much? And the projecting is definitely not good. But as far as like the whole theme of everything, one concept that has been shared with me in a more spiritual sense is like going through these deep, icky times and trusting that God is developing you into the next person that you need to be. The next person you're evolving into, the next version of yourself. And to be developed, it takes a lot of unlayering and repatterning and unlearning and all the things that we already know. And it sounds nice with all those words, but when you think about like literally identity shedding, it's not fun. It's very uncomfortable because sometimes you're letting go of pleasures and things that you want to hold on to. Sometimes you're holding on to parts of your character that you're so used to doing. And to completely dismantle that and to start from a blank canvas almost feel like these times of nothingness and ickiness and just full on tears and so much tenderness, and the softening needs to happen, the crumbling down, the everything feels like it's not going right, everything feels like it's falling apart, like that needs to happen to step into the next version of yourself. And it's so interesting, even the past few days when I felt like I've needed support, I've needed to feel love with my friends and just like being more held. Like I haven't actually seen many people this past week. I haven't felt like people have been reaching out, and that's not just on them. It's like everyone has a life, but I haven't actively been in a space to receive it and to reach out. And I think energetically that's always felt. And so it's so interesting also because I've always felt like I've had my parents to lean on, especially my mom. But with my parents' life transitions, especially in the past 2 to 3 years, the dynamic has really shifted from what I felt so comfortable for me to lean onto them for, whether it's like, not that I've needed their financial support in the past few years, but if I needed to, I felt like that was always like a last resort option, or if I needed to move back in with them, or if I needed to do all of that. And that hasn't been available to me, especially in this past year. That's been completely dismantled. And it feels like a whole nother level for me to be like, no, I'm really on my own and I'm really creating my life and I'm really taking all of this and building a life for myself, and I am learning how to trust within me. And even on that topic of providership, like I notice in relationship, especially when I'm projecting, and this constant battle in my mind, whether it's timeline of thinking when I want to have kids, when I want to get married, when I want to do all these things, and I notice when it's a conversation with my partner versus projecting a timeline and getting frustrated. Like that's the hard part too, is we see so many people around us living their lives in relationship and things, and the second we compare, the second we feel like we need to have a certain timeline, that can bring up so much, because we really have to honor our own pace, create our own guidelines and rules or things to live by, our own values in relationship. It's never going to be the same as other people's. And so where I'm going with that is like, I notice when I'm projecting, because I'm projecting these things that I feel like would be what a provider would do onto my partner, but it's not coming from a congruent, like deeply rooted place. And so when I'm feeling confused or sticky with my own stuff and I'm projecting it, it just feels all confusing. And then I get upset, and then I get mad, and then little things trigger me, and then I want to hold on and harbor onto that anger. And then it's just like a whole cycle. And then my partner and I will disagree on something, and it becomes a whole thing. And it's like, it's so crazy because obviously being in a tender place, being in a place where we're both deeply evolving and going through an intense season, and where I feel like I'm personally going into a season, I can't speak for my partner, but I'm going through a season where I'm like deeply, something is being uprooted and I'm getting developed and morphed into something else. And to have that all be reflected with a significant other is a lot. And so that's kind of the gist of all of what I've been going through. And again, it feels so simple saying it on here, but when it's day to day and in every moment, it can feel so sticky and icky and uncomfortable. And I question myself a lot too. I'm like, why am I hosting a song circle? Why am I picking up a camera and creating? Like, I'm not even that important. What do I have to offer? Like, why is this important? Like, do I really think doing these things is going to get me anywhere in life? And I think of like success and career, and again, all of that being dismantled because I didn't ever think I wanted a full-time job, but I've also been really diving more into money and understanding how I want to invest, and like really appreciated the financial stability and the opportunity to invest that money and like build different foundations for myself, and getting to understand like when you have more money, you have more options and things you can do. But it's not just spending, but it's like literally the way you can offer and give to the world is different. So, and then I'm kind of like scarred from running my business in the past because I didn't run it from a place of like, no, I'm in this to make money. Not that it's about money, but I just did it as more of like a hobby kind of business. And so when I think about that potential of like, what do I want to do in the future? Do I ever want to start my own business again? But I notice all of the fears and all of the stuff that comes up that's like, no, I don't think you could do it. And so it's such a beautiful and weird place to be in the thick of uncertainty. It's such a part of the human experience, because the human experience would be boring if everything was so certain and if you just knew everything, but it also brings up so much. And this time period of my life, continuously feeling like I need to detach from the timelines, I need to reroute back to truth. And I think that's why these practices of like being in the sunlight, cacao ceremonies, like singing, praying, doing things in devotion, whatever those practices are, they're so important. And that's why I feel like just like everything we do is that continuous yoga practice. It's like bringing us back home, bringing us back to our truth, bringing us back to our home, ourselves, our peace. But it's like we're never going to just stay there permanently. It comes again and again, and every time it's like unearthing more layers, getting deeper in relationship, getting deeper with yourself, accessing more points. It's just the most uncomfortable when you feel like you're in a space where you're feeling like you're moving backward or you're not doing anything and it feels stagnant. So that's where I've been. I don't have any advice in that department, but I do feel like opening up my voice and exploring that something completely new, which on a scientific level can be really great for neuroplasticity, but also being really vulnerable again, because I've been so used to like doing things that I know I'm good at. Like in my job, I was like always doing the things that I knew I was good at and confident at. And in my business, I was doing the things that I knew I had a grip on. Yeah, in retrospect, it's all beautiful, but in the thick of it, it's anyways, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to make some yummy food and nourish and process and integrate and try to come back to a place of love. So when my partner gets home today, I'm really craving some reconnection, and it's hard. It's hard, but it's beautiful. And the end. Thank you for being here. If you liked this, please like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for being here. Thank you for witnessing me in all of the chaos and weirdness.